Hey guys, this is Josh here with Trillium Wild Edibles, and today I wanted to count down my top 5 favorite wild edibles. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about why I like each one of these plants and why I like to forage them for food. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 6, we have the small and delicate plant known as chickweed. Now, a lot of people know of chickweed because it's kind of invasive and rampant around the edges of their barns and their homes. Now, chickweed is amazingly delicious if gathered at the right times of year. It is edible all year long. However, the main thing to keep in mind is that during the spring and the fall, the leaves are very, very tender and juicy, and they taste a lot like little baby lettuce greens, so they're very, very delicious. And one of my favorite greens to actually gather in the spring and in the fall whenever I find them. Some of the things that I like to do with chickweed, I really enjoy putting it on sandwiches or putting it in wraps mixed with maybe a garlic mustard spread or a garlic mustard dip, maybe mix it in with some chips. It is amazing, and it goes really good when mixed with violet flowers as well, because the sweetness of the flowers, of the violet flowers, and chickweed leaves just goes really good together. Coming in at number 5 is garlic mustard. Now, garlic mustard is a plant that I really enjoy for not only its flavor, but also its ease of harvesting and the fact that it grows everywhere. Garlic mustard is an invasive plant, an invasive species, so therefore it's actually recommended that you pull the plant up in most of your parks and nature centers and things like that, especially with permission, of course. But that makes it really easy to gather, and you don't have to worry about really getting in any trouble for it. Another really good thing about garlic mustard is you can use it in all kinds of things. You can use it from chip dips to condiments for wraps and sandwiches and salads even. You can eat it as a green as is. You can mix it in with other greens for a salad. You can cook it. You can use it and dry it and make seasoning out of it. You can do all sort of things with it. It even goes good whenever you mix it with mayonnaise and put it on chicken. It tastes great. Coming in at number 4, we have the violet. The violet is a common plant that a lot of people are used to seeing on their lawns and around the edges of their gardens, with its familiar heart-shaped leaves and awesomely beautiful, delicate little blue and purple flowers. Now, there are violets that can have white flowers as well, and even yellow flowers. However, all of them are able to be used in the same ways and edible in the same ways, so keep that in mind. But I really enjoy eating the flowers more than I do the leaves. However, the violet leaves are rather bland, so mix them up a little bit with maybe some other more flavorful greens, like maybe some dandelion greens and then maybe some garlic mustard with some regular spinach or maybe some chickweed, and you'll have a really good mix. Alright, now coming in at number 3, we have lamb's quarters. Lamb's quarters is also known as wild spinach or sometimes wild quinoa. I don't use it for a quinoa replacement because the processing would be very, very difficult. However, I love to use it as a raw salad green. I don't like to cook it very much. Not for any other reason except for I don't like the fact that it shrinks, because it's a cooked green, it shrinks tremendously. And if I don't have to cook it, I'm not going to. Now, if I do cook them, I do enjoy them sauteed or oiled lightly and then thrown into a pizza or sauteed up with some mushrooms, or maybe mix that in with some dandelion greens, and that tastes amazing, especially on a pizza. Alright, now coming in at number 2, we have the nettle. Now, there are 2 different kinds of nettles, as most people might be aware of. We have the stinging nettle and the wood nettle. They're both usable in the same way, so don't let that worry or confuse you. However, I absolutely love boiled nettle greens. They are amazing when they're drizzled in butter with a little bit of salt and garlic and maybe a dash of lemon juice or even some lime juice. Oh man, they're good. They're really, really good that way. Another really awesome thing about nettles is that you can gather them for food for probably about 2 to 3 months of the year, depending on where you live. They're really easy to gather, especially to gather a large amount. You do have to cook them and they do shrink a bit, but they're worth it in the end. Another really interesting thing about nettles is they're one of the few leaf green sources of protein that we have available to us. So if you're out in the wild somewhere and you don't have meat, you can get proteins and some amino acids just from within the nettle green. Alright, and branching its way in at number 1, we have the spice bush. I absolutely love the fragrance, the smell, the taste, and even the look of the bush itself. It smells, it looks amazing, it's just awesome. It has this very sweet, allspice, sassafras kind of mix to it that is just irreplaceable. You cannot find anything that smells or tastes like this plant. It is so delicious, especially whenever you make it into a syrup and then you add that syrup to ice cream. Oh, it makes really good ice cream. It's also a really good flavoring or seasoning for bread or bread-like items or any dessert because you can use it as a substitute for allspice. When it comes to using spice bush as an allspice substitute, it's best to take the berries, the red oily berries, dry them out and then crush them, and then you can use that as your allspice substitute. However, I just simply like to make a syrup and then add that to whatever it is I plan on cooking, whether it be a bread or whether that be some ice cream or any other dessert-like item. That's one of my favorite ways to use spice bush. Another way I like to use it is I love nibbling on the leaves when I'm walking through the woods because it is delicious. So that pretty much covers my 5 favorite wild edible medicinal plants. I thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If you want to learn more about edible or medicinal plants, make sure to subscribe.